Hello, Aldrup Gymnasium. This is Ian Burns, and I'd like to give you first early impressions about the character I'm going to play in a forthcoming production called Extremophilies. I've only read the play Extremophilies 2 or 3 times, so I can share my early impressions about the man I'll be trying to portray, Bertram. And I'd be glad to do this again when we as a team of actors start to rehearse the play with our director and to get under the skins of each character. Bertram is very likeable. He is a veteran, which is a kinder and gentler way of saying old. He's a seasoned campaigner of these scientific trips to the Antarctic ice caps, where he's been measuring the rate of ice melting and temperature changes for decades. This is his 4th expedition, we discover during the telling of this story, and his name, Bertram, or when shortened to the more playful Bertie, tells me that he's from a certain class that can only be found in Great Britain. He's probably from the upper middle classes, a man who had an expensive public school education at boarding school from an early age, and then a good university after that. And I suspect that he might have met his wife, Julia, while at university, and that she has been the person he has been able to rely upon in good times and bad, and they have 2 daughters. I think that Bertram hankers after the days when Britain knew its place in the world, and that he enjoys being an example of leading the way in climate research, and he boasts slightly about that. He looks at the world with a glint in his eye and was, at the beginning of his career, an eternal optimist. Sadly, the days of the empire that he refers to are long gone, as Britain gave up its colonies shortly after the end of the Second World War. But the Union Jack flag still flies as a small addition on the design of many flags around the world, namely Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Perhaps you can do a Google search to see just how many nations are still part of an alliance called the Commonwealth, with Queen Elizabeth II at its head. The last time I checked, there were over 50 countries in the Commonwealth, and there are still quite a few places where Britain still has sovereignty, Bermuda, for example. Bertram is playfully condescending towards Lars about the collapse of the smaller Danish Empire, but maybe Bertram has forgotten about Denmark's control over Greenland, the world's largest island. He believes he has a strong sense of humour, and he enjoys verbal swordplay and games like chess and cards, and I fancy he is rather quick at solving crosswords. He enjoys being part of a team. He is a team player, and because he wasn't overly ambitious, he's not been upset by lack of personal promotion. Money and status do not seem to matter much to Bertram. He is, however, not very pleased when Angela is promoted above him at the station, when Commander Fiskler leaves the base to return to England. The news they receive over the radio, albeit broken, fragmented, sporadic, and rather depressing, does have an effect on him. He tries his best to decode or to make sense of the fragments of information that they pick up and record. I believe that he has a very strong sense of duty, of trying to always be positive, and is in many ways a throwback to the days when it was expected of men to behave in a way that benefits others, regardless of personal safety. He is unselfish in that way. He enjoys a good glass of wine, likes making people laugh, and laughing himself, which he insists is good for morale, which seems to be one of his raison d'etre. Like I say, Bertram is a very likeable man, and we experience his crumbling and breakdown as the situation gets worse. He starts to hallucinate due to lack of proper rations and lack of vitamin D. The continual darkness outside maybe reflects the dark thoughts in his mind that his own days are now sadly numbered, and that he will never see his beloved wife or country again.